Hello, and welcome back to GlitchWitch.JPG. I fooled you for a second, didn't I? Hello, my name is GlitchWitch.JPG, also known by some of the Creepcast community as Jacoby, Scary Carrie, Me Canyon's twin sister. You decide. I'll take any of them. I'm not offended by Scary Carrie, I'm gonna put it out there now. I'm honored. I make videos about internet horror, analog horror, digital horror, creepypastas, internet urban legends, ARGs, and sometimes I talk about movies and video games as well. And today, we're talking creepypastas because we're talking everyone's favorite creepypasta podcast, Creepcast, hosted by the wonderful Wendigoon and Meat Canyon. I did a tier list about, not a full year ago, earlier this year. In the first tier list, I covered the first episode, the original Stairs in the Woods, through I'm Blind and I'm Not Sure How Many Steps My Staircase Has. At the time of recording that video, that was the most recent episode. I think The Pigeons Around Here Aren't Real dropped the day I recorded that episode. So today, I will be doing The Pigeons Around Here Aren't Real through Dreams Beneath the Witch Tree. There is one I will not be including. I'm going to put that off the bat. The Creepypasta Chicago one, the live one. I like to watch the live ones, and I have not had a chance to watch it. And instead of delaying this any longer, I figured let's just go ahead. And then also, I'm not going to do Stairs in the Woods again just because I've talked about the creepypasta already in my first one, but just so you know, I loved the re-record. I loved the new episode. I'm glad that they did it justice. Love to see it. And then Jane the Killer dropped yesterday as of me recording it, so I have not included that. So I will start the next, if I do a third one, which I'm sure I will at this point. These are fun to make and people seem to like them. I will start with Jane the Killer, which I'm so excited about. But so we have a lot to cover today, and I just want to get into it. It's, we're having fun. You may not agree with me, and that's okay. And I may not agree with you, and that's okay. We're all friends here. Shout out, I have to say, to my 7 sisters. We are legion. I love my Creepcast divas. Every time I've ever posted on the subreddit, people have been very kind to me. And I'm also in the 7 Sisters Discord, and everyone's super nice there. So it's just a great community. I really appreciate the Creepcast community. I think it's a really positive, creepypasta sub-community. I just love the show. It's brought me a lot of joy this year, and a year that I really needed it. So I'm excited to talk about some stories and some silly, funny guys. The way that I do this, if you have not seen my first Creepcast tier list, which you should go watch it, because, you'll see my taste, you'll see where my opinions lie. I do 2 tier lists. I do a tier list for the stories themselves, which is broken down into, there's a new secret one at the top that I'm not going to reveal till it's time to get there. And I just had to make a new category, but we'll get there when we get there. So that's like next level unreal. Then at the normal top, the S rank, if you will, is insert Lady Gaga talented amazing gif. You know the gif I'm talking about. I'm showing it right now. And that means a truly remarkable, unlike, anything, spectacular story. Some of the ones that made it in that rank in the last video were Baraska, Left-Right Game, Pen Pal, Diana House. So like heavy hitters that I love that I think are just terrific. And then next we have I Love This So Much, which really great, but I can't quite put it to that level of like a Pen Pal or something. And some of the examples of those for me were 1999, Tommy Taffy, The Tall Dog, Berries in the Window. And the next there's This Is Neat, which is like, I like this, it's good. And I had like Russian Sleep Experiment. Shout out, I have my Russian Sleep Experiment hoodie on. Deep Woods, things like that, because I really like the first half of Deep Woods. Did not like the second half. Meh is like, okay. It's not even like so bad that it's good. It's just kind of like meh. Which I had, my wife's been peeking at me around corners. It breathes, it bleeds, it breeds. My Job is Watching a Woman Trapped in a Room, which I know I have many comments say that they did not read the whole thing of that. So I'm sorry if I've offended fans of that story. I'm sure it's better in its full form. And then last we have Oh Dear God No, which is like peak garbage. It's so trashy that I'm having a delightful time, and that's things like Jeff the Killer, I Dared My Best Friend to Ruin My Life, Sonic.exe, like a lot of your classic creepypastas go there. And then the second tier list we do is for the Creepcast episode themselves. And this one isn't as like, oh, it's good or bad, because genuinely I like every episode of Creepcast. So these are different categories, and none of them are inherently like negative. So the first one is like literally crying laughing. Like, it is an episode with a bit so funny that I was in tears over it. And, you know, we had in the original one things like Jeff the Killer, the Diana House with Eat Me Like a Bug, I Dared My Best Friend to Ruin My Life because of everything to do with that. And then below that we have Solid Creepcast episode, which is maybe not like as the funniest ever, but there's good bits, there's good discussion, it's memorable, I think about it. And for me, that's kind of most of them. Most of them are split between the top two. And that's like Braska, Pen Pal, 1999. So some of the ones that are maybe more serious in subject matter, so they're not always like going hysterical with it. Then I have NGL, I don't remember much about this one, which like, that's usually the story's fault, not Hunter and Isaiah's fault. And then last is I disagree with their analysis or opinion, but that's art, baby. And that's just a point where I want to say I, either like or dislike something that they openly like or dislike. And it's not to say they're wrong, it's just to point out a differing opinion and kind of start conversation about it. So don't ever take that as me being like, they're wrong. And it doesn't happen often. And I think it happens even less in this one, like this second video, than it did in the first one. Without further ado, let's get started. And I want to say a few things. If I forget like a funny part or a bit, I'm sorry. I'm only human. This is like so many episodes and so many stories for me to have tried to remember. I want to shout out our Creepcast fandom goat, Darbo. I did consult the holy text of Darbo's funniest moments videos for a lot of these as just a refresher of like what bit happened in which. So God bless you, Darbo. If y'all aren't familiar, Darbo is a YouTuber who uploads like clip compilations of the funniest moments of Creepcast episodes. But the thing that's crazy about Darbo is like he uploads them sometimes like in an amount of time that does not make logical sense. So he's a wizard or he like works for them and we don't really know which it is. But God bless you, Darbo. Maybe Darbo will upload a best of GlitchWitch doing Creepcast tier list, but like 3 days before I actually upload this video. That would be amazing. Then we would know he's a wizard. So if I forget your favorite bit, I'm sorry, but please comment it below. I'm not offended if you point it out, but bear with me. This is just my opinion. I have things that I really like that like no matter what, I'm going to be more, jazzed about, and things that are just not for me. Like, I love religious horror. I'm like our good pal Wendigoon in that respect. I personally don't really like space or like ocean stuff. It's not that I'm scared of it or that it just doesn't intrigue me. So without further ado, let's start with The Pigeons Here Aren't Real, which this is an episode that had multiple stories by the same author. So for the stories themselves, obviously I will rank each story. For the Creepcast episode, I will just rank the episode. So The Pigeons Here Aren't Real, I'm going to start with that story. I think that this is a perfectly fine story. I think the visual of some of the like transformations was really gross in a good way, but like the puns and shit really annoyed me. So I think The Pigeons Here itself, I'm gonna put under this as neat. Like, I don't hate it, but I'm not, its biggest fan. Now, it all started with a hot air balloon. I'm doing these out of order of when they were in the episode, I apologize, but it all started with the hot air balloon is the one where the like pressure starts killing people and the mother and the son have to like go hide in the basement. I loved this one. I'm going to put it under I love this so much because I don't know if it's quite Lady Gaga gif, but it's such a scary premise and I think it's handled really well, and it reminds me kind of the same energy of Jordan Peele movie. Nope. Similar energy there. I thought it was really neat, and that's something that like gets under my skin because you can't do anything about it, and it just happened. And then the last one was Return to Sender, which was the YouTuber one where the guy's neighbor sent himself. And I'm gonna say this is I'm gonna say I love this so much because I think it's just clever, and it's a clever send up on like cringy YouTuber people, and like the little twist in the end that he would have lived if he hadn't dropped the box is it's really kind of fairy. I really like that. So as far as the episode goes, honestly, I'm gonna do literally crying laughing, and maybe this didn't make everyone laugh as much as me, but Hunter talked about his aunt with the dog that would lick her feet while she watched American Ninja Warrior, and I think about that all the time.
One night I come home, once again, I mind you, she's in a retirement community. I come home, she's watching American Ninja Warrior in the living room, and her dog is licking her feet, like, obsessively. Like, whatever. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just watching American Ninja Warrior. And I mean, that little motherfucker is going at those piggies like crazy.
So for that, this episode gets literally crying laughing. Next, we have the hidden webpage. If you are a regular GlitchWitch.JPG viewer, you know this is my shit. I have talked about the hidden webpage. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in Lady Gaga GIF. I have talked about the hidden webpage at length in other videos. Whenever I talk about like weird internet or early internet, I end up bringing up the hidden webpage. I think that it's honestly one of my favorite creepypastas ever. I just love that mystery of the early internet. It's able to channel that kind of mysterious and unsettling nature of early internet and like Y2K and all of that, but it brings it into this modern setting because our main character is being essentially, you know, brought back into the whole and all of this, you know, stuff that he was involved with when he was younger. And I think that's just so cool because that's something we've lost in the modern internet. We don't have that mystery to, you know, bring it back in this way, and for him to, you know, deep dive and see that there are still people that believe Y2K happened and all that. I just think it is absolutely brilliant. I know this one is not for everyone, but it is absolutely my shit. I love it so much. I think about it all the time. And I want to say, if you were a fan of the hidden webpage, some things that I think you should check out. There's a film, I made a whole video about it called Fear.com. Watch Fear.com. You will like it if you like the hidden webpage. It's not as good as the hidden webpage, but it's still very good. If for some reason you've never seen the David Lynch film Lost Highway, watch Lost Highway because it has a very similar setup with the whole like filming, like getting a videotape and you find out that they're filming your house. That's how that movie begins. And that I feel like is one of his underrated films, and it's maybe my favorite. I love Lost Highway. Hidden webpage, obviously peak. Obviously, you know, insert Lady Gaga gift for me. The episode itself is also going to go literally crying laughing because amongst this wonderful, brilliant, perfect story, this is the episode where it opens with Wendigoon saying that Meat Canyon sent him a text saying that he and Allison got in a bad car wreck, and Wendigoon was genuinely upset and concerned, and then Meat Canyon was like, yeah, let me send you a picture, and then it was a naked picture of him, and I think about that all the time. I think that's so very funny. My crew and I are stuck aboard an abandoned ship. Y'all, I hate this story. I hate that it forces itself to be like a, hey, Reddit, and I get it. I get that no sleep is a fickle mistress, but there are ways, right? And I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like boat shit already, and I just did not like the story. It is not for me. It was a slog to get through for me. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm putting this down here, but instead of analysis or opinion, I am instead going to add just choice, artistic choice, and that is Hunter doing the very British accent for the entire thing, even when he wasn't voice acting.
Of part 6, you know me, I like boats in the sea, so I'm very excited to read this story.
He found out an hour ago that this story involves British people, and he has not quit the accent since.
You might be a little more cultured this episode because I might do the whole thing in this accent.
Port of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, about a week and a half ago. Oh, they're not even British. Their home port's New Hampshire.
Oh my. This is quite the debacle.
It drove me
Very
crazy. It drove me crazy. It was funny at first, but it drove me crazy. I'm so sorry. I'll never be a third, a fourth, a fifth, an eighth, a 10,000th funny as that man, but it did my ass in. I could not. And you know what? I'm an audio listener. I feel like I should put that caveat out there. I listen very specific parameters for my Creepcast listening. I only listen to Creepcast in the car by myself when I'm commuting. I wonder if it would have been funnier if I could see him, but the audio, it drove me crazy. So that's enough on that. I'm not going to dwell on it. Azalea's Cookhouse is a family restaurant. This one is interesting. There are parts of this one that I really like, but I was kind of bothered by the main character and how down bad he was for that woman that killed her family. But I love the setup of like the restaurant and that's a business. Like, I think that's a really interesting concept. So I'm gonna put it in I love this so much because I do think it is a really, look at how I spelled restaurant, y'all. I want you to know that I was preparing for this video like all day yesterday, and then I was so tired from having to like take notes on every single episode, I just didn't record. So that's why we have Restaurant. I promise I can speak, read, and write English. But I do like the story. I think it's such a original premise that's worth putting in that. The episode, I'm gonna put it in solid Creepcast episode, but I do want to point out this is the origin of the bear trap, which is crazy because I feel like the bear trap has always been there because it's just such an integral part of Creepcast now. But I thought that's really neat that that's where it originated, and it's really funny because it originated with Hunter like reading ahead and being like, oh my god, no, I know exactly what's gonna happen. So worth it for that. I'm not gonna say that it's like crying laughing though, but it's a good episode. And then the next one is a big one where it's a huge grab bag. The episode itself is called The Rake, Candle Cove, Mr. Widemouth, but it covers The Rake, Candle Cove, Mr. Widemouth, Dead Bart, Hooded Man, Herobrine, Ickbar Bigglestein, and Gateway of the Mind. So we have some heavy hitting, classics. And I knew all of these except for Ickbar Bigglestein, Mr. Widemouth, and the Hooded Man. So let's start off with, The Rake. I'm meh on The Rake. I mean, the story itself is like whatever, and he's not my favorite, creepypasta critter or guy. He's just never has been. Candle Cove is, if nothing else, the thing about Candle Cove is just the legacy of Candle Cove as an analog horror girly. I can't not love Candle Cove, and I do enjoy it. I think it makes great use of the format of, forum comments, and it is just such classic creepypasta. And Candle Cove, of course, is written by Chris Straub, who went on to essentially invent the internet horror subgenre, analog horror. His series Local 58, which is kind of, loosely tied to Candle Cove because Candle Cove aired on Local 58. So I love Candle Cove for that. If you have not seen the sci-fi original series, Channel Zero, the first season of Channel Zero is Candle Cove. That's a show that every season is a different creepypasta. Chris Straub was involved with the Candle Cove season, and it's just a great show, and I'm really sad that it was only on for 4 seasons, but definitely check it out. I think what they did with Candle Cove was really cool. If Chris Straub has 0 fans, I'm dead. Mr. Widemouth. So, Mr. Widemouth is insane. I didn't know it was gonna be about that, and I'm gonna give Mr. Widemouth that this is neat because, like, it's not good, but I kind of love it, and I love him. I think he's so, like, he's just it's weird. It is scary when you think about it. But, I mean, the reason why it's so funny, and I'll just go ahead and put this episode into literally crying laughing. Hunter's making Mr. Widemouth into, like, a bigot.
You should totally kill yourself.
I don't think it's a good idea.
No, you should totally just jump out this window and kill yourself.
Mom?
Yeah, Ma.
No, don't just do it as a fun game, I swear.
You'll bounce up. It'll be really cool.
Like a feather. No, that's totally gay.
You're not Mr. Whitemouth. You can't say that stuff. Seriously, you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
That's pretty homophobic.
Yes, that's actually pretty insensitive. I wish you wouldn't say it.
No, I'm just saying that it's totally gay.
Mr. Widemouth, you can't be problematic.
Mr. Whitemouth, I just could you just stop saying that, please?
Just stop being gay and just jump out this window.
I'm 5.
Yeah, the bits are good in Mr. Whitemouth. Then we have Dead Bart, and you know what? Controversial yet brave. I really like Dead Bart as far as lost episode creepypastas go, because lost episode creepypastas inherently are not very good. There's a lost episode creepypasta called Lost Episodes Can Be Found Again that I think does a really good job, kind of almost, it's like a love letter to the trope of lost episode creepypastas that I think is really good. But as far as lost episode creepypastas go, I think that Dead Bart is really fun because it's silly, it's ridiculous, hyper-realistic gore. You know, Matt Groening's like writing the website down on a piece of paper and shit. And then the thing that sends it over the edge to me is I do genuinely really appreciate the ending. You know, that it shows that there was, they have all the, you know, predictions for the celebrity death dates, because that's the whole thing, is like, The Simpsons predicts everything, and that it shows that there's a mass extinction event. Like, I think that's kind of clever, actually, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with Hunter that it's better than Been Drowned. I'm sorry. And then Herobrine for me is like meh, because I did not grow up with Minecraft, so it's just not for me. But I do want to say, if you like Herobrine, and if you like creepypasta in general, and you like good music, my good friend Charlotte Sabina has a song and an album called Herobrine, and she is super inspired by internet horror and creepypasta and ARGs, and I interviewed her. You should watch it here. The Hooded Man, it's horrible, and I love it. I was gooped and gagged at The Hooded Man. It is everything I could ever want out of a creepypasta, and I was so happy that they acknowledged that, you know, a story like this shows that creepypasta was a healthy outlet for potentially troubled kids to get their big feelings out in a safe and accepting, you know, community in a way that does not harm themselves or others. And I think that's so important, and I think that's a completely, you know, underappreciated aspect of creepypasta. I think it helped a lot of kids, you know, work through shit they were going through. As much as The Hooded Man is a nightmare of a story, I genuinely do think it helped a child get it all out and then move on. And for that, I appreciate it. And it's funny as
Fairy Queen.
Ickbar Bigglestein, I'm gonna do meh. I didn't remember what this was until I went and like scanned through it when I was planning out this episode. I don't know. Gateway of the Mind, I think it's neat. The Gateway of the Mind does have kind of a soft spot for me, because I love the association with the art piece that had nothing to do with it, and that's just very classic early creepypasta, weird YouTube stuff, so I appreciate Gateway of the Mind. It's corny, it's not written very well, it has a lot of similarities to like Russian Sleep Experiment, but it's just not, it's history, you know what I mean? Okay, so that's that episode. Like I said, I put literally crying laughing because there's a lot of good bits in this, because you're dealing with so much cringe, right? And so it's a fun episode, but specifically Mr. Widemouth. Next, we have Dagon's Mirror. And Dagon's Mirror was one that I honestly was not looking forward to, like, when I saw it, because I'm not a Lovecraftian diva. Sorry to say, I've never been that into Lovecraft or Lovecraftian things. But I did like this story. I thought it was really well written. I'm gonna say I love it, actually, because it made me care. It made me really get into this world, this family. I believed the dynamics between the characters, and it painted such a beautiful visual. Like, I really could see every single thing that the author was, painting for us. I was impressed by it, and I was impressed by this author's other work that they read, which we'll get to later. And I'm going to say this was a solid Creepcast episode. I want to shout out Hunter's voice acting in this episode was incredible. He always does a great job, but it was just unreal top notch in this. I really, it sticks out in my head. So next we have I Pretended to Be a Missing Girl. I was into this. This was juicy to me, and I'm really excited for the movie. I know a certain Sydney Sweeney is attached to it. I'm not gonna get into it. I did see The Housemaid this weekend, and A, The Housemaid has kind of some similarities to this story, and B, juicy drama, divas, Amanda Seyfried. But anyway, I like this story. I did really, I'm gonna say I love it so much. I really enjoyed it. It had me hooked. The way that it just ended kind of scared the shit out of me. I was just like, what do you mean? So I'm curious to see how they will adapt it. And any Creepypasta adaptation is a win for me. Let's keep getting internet stories in front of more eyes and taken more seriously by other people. As far as the episode, I'm gonna say it was a solid episode. There's some funny bits, like with the pot of greed and stuff. I wrote myself a letter and I got a response. I don't know what the general consensus is on this story, but this is an oh dear god no for me. Not because it's bad, but it was so mean and just dark and heavy. It was not for me. I did not enjoy it. I really, it kind of made me uncomfortable, and not in, a way that I enjoyed. So I just really did not enjoy it. I just found it way too mean-spirited and cruel. I just, not for me. And I don't remember the episode, honestly. I don't, because I try not to think about this story. I really just, it is not for me. Burger entries is another one where I'm like, I don't do humor and horror very well. That's what I love about this show, is their ability to make jokes about very kind of dark and serious topics. When a story is trying to be like a horror comedy, it's just not. It's never been my thing. I've never been that much into it. I was not a fan of Tales from the Gas Station. It's just a me thing. It's just not my taste. And I think this one, while the beginning, I can see why people that like horror comedy would really enjoy it. By the end, it's just so batshit and overwhelming. I don't know. It's just not one that I loved. And as far as the episode goes, I'm gonna say I don't remember much about it. And I skipped one because I forgot. I have another kind of special case here. So the Red Tower. I'm not rating any of the stories read in the Red Tower on the story one itself, because I just don't think that needs to be discussed. I think that it's kind of been picked apart on the subreddit. I don't think that's fair, but I also don't really want to compare it to these other stories because I think it's just different. However, I do have thoughts and opinions on this episode. I don't think this worked. Not because the stories aren't good. Not even necessarily because they're stories that I think are probably better read yourself than listened to. The thing that I love about Creepcast is it's about shining a light on internet horror stories. Written by people who are putting themselves out there online that may have never had a professional writing career. And, sometimes that means highlighting classic cringy stuff that is a part of internet history, is a part of our culture, but also shining light on incredible, underappreciated, underrespected works of horror fiction. And these people need this platform. Thomas Ligotti doesn't need this platform. None of those, his books are published in Penguin Classics. He is a classic, he's written classic literature. He doesn't need a podcast. But, you know, Elias Witherow probably benefited from this podcast. C.K. Walker has probably benefited from this podcast. These people are benefiting from this exposure. I think if they pivot to reading like actual published classic horror literature, it defeats the point of the show, or at least the reason that I tuned in originally, because internet work is already not taken seriously enough. And if we lose platforms like this, you know, it kind of sucks, because this is one of the biggest platforms currently active that honors and respects internet horror creation. So that's my 2 cents on the whole Red Tower of it all. So I'm just going to say I disagree, because I fundamentally think that it doesn't make sense as a Creepcast episode. Could they make a video about Thomas Ligotti and, you know, do like a collab on Wendigoon's channel or something? Absolutely. But I feel like it does not work on Creepcast as a mainline episode. They choose to do that, it's their podcast, but that's my 2 cents on it. Enough of that. Next we have Spire in the Woods. I love Spire in the Woods. Obviously it's going into Lady Gaga gift. I loved this story. It started so strong, it was so captivating, and it just does a wonderful, wonderful job weaving this tale in a way that makes it feel like a classic ghost story, you know, something like Turn of the Screw almost. And the slow realization that our main character is a asshole, like it goes from like, oh, this poor guy, oh, he's just a teenager, to, oh my god, this kid is awful. He sucks. And it's done so well, and it happens so slowly over time. I just love it. I think the author does an incredible job at writing these characters and these relationships. I think, you know, Alina subverts, you know, the girl next door trope really well. You know, she's really kind of being forced into these uncomfortable situations with all these men just because she's pretty. It's not her fault. I think Scary Carrie is a fascinating character, and she's such an interesting character because we're getting this view of her from this horrible main character. You know, we don't know how bad or poor or ugly Carrie actually is, because he may be completely over-exaggerating it. So I am honored to be compared to Scary Carrie, and I wish that she had a better outcome, because I feel so bad for her. But I love Spire in the Woods, so obviously, yes, Lady Gaga gif. And then I'm gonna say this is a solid episode. They're really into it. It is funny, I think, about Hunter going ring, ring, ring a lot. But, you know, there's a lot of good discussion, and it's just a really good episode, and it's a really, really good story. Next we have Tiki Toby. Oh, Tiki Toby's rough. Tiki Toby is a classic creepypasta character that I kind of do my best to avoid, because it's very easy for Tiki Toby to become a little ableist and insensitive very quickly because of his tics, right? When I've done videos where I read like creepypasta fanfic and stuff, I don't like reading Toby's dialogue because I feel like I shouldn't be reading it, like I shouldn't be saying it out loud. And it's just, you know, it has all of the benchmarks of classic misunderstood, like emo kid, I'm gonna go find Slender Man, you know, that energy of creepypasta. And, you know, what do you want, right? You know, it's funny, I'm glad they covered it. And this one got me. The entire bit about Hunter being Mr. Hancock, the horrible teacher at school that makes fun of children and is accusing fellow teachers of gambling rings and stuff, and opioid rings, as well as, you know, the return of Eat Me Like a Bug from the Diane house. So it's a good episode. And while Tiki Toby may not be my favorite, it is certainly iconic. So next, we have another multiple story episode, which is Greywater, which is a very cool opportunity for them because the episode was actually sponsored by A24 to promote the film Bring Her Back, which if you're not familiar with me or my channel, I have talked exhaustively about Bring Her Back and Danny and Michael Filippo, aka Rucka Rucka, who directed it. They are OG YouTubers. They're one of the biggest YouTuber to horror director successes. They also directed Talk to Me. And in my opinion, their greatest triumph on the internet was the creation of the horror ARG Ash Vlogs, which is now connected slightly to Bring Her Back with a new ARG called theblackangel.tapes.com. If you're interested in learning any more about the Filippos and these ARGs, I have made a video about Ash Vlogs. It is a very comprehensive beginning to end timeline. Not to toot my own horn, there are not a lot of beginning to end timelines, just because it did take so long. A lot of people were covering it as it happened and missed out on kind of the retrospective. So it is a very complete picture of that, as well as a video on the Black Angel tapes, which is the Bring Her Back ARG. So not to plug, but those are two good resources because it is kind of hard to find information about ARGs in one place. So I digress. Love Bring Her Back. Was so excited that they were able to do this episode. So this episode covered like ritual themed creepypastas because there's a lot of ritual stuff going on in Bring Her Back. Greywater was the kind of only narrative story one. The other ones were more like games that you could play. And I'm gonna say, this is maybe bold, I don't know. I'm putting Greywater in Lady Gaga Gift because it has stuck with me and it painted a picture unlike maybe any other story I've ever read. And I don't know why, but I can close my eyes to this day and vividly see Greywater Gardens, see his interaction with, you know, the shopkeep and out in the water. And like, it is just paints such a vivid picture. And it's so strangely like warm and comforting to me, even though it's so tragic. It feels very in line with Bring Her Back, with that like soul-crushing sadness that the Filippos are so good with. So I think that's really cool that it was, you know, so in line with Bring Her Back, and that was, you know, the sponsor that they got. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of water involved in Bring Her Back as well. So it's just interesting. It also reminds me of Silent Hill 2. I'm not going to get into it, but I love Greywater. Then there was the Midnight Game, which, like, all of these pretty much are like, this is neat. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. The hide and seek by yourself is also neat. 11 Mile Ritual, I'm going to go ahead and put in meh, because it's like, it's fine, but it's not, you know, the best thing ever. I love these things, though. It's so classic internet. I never did any of these, but there was one that I can't remember. I need to look it up. It was like an elevator challenge. Yeah, the elevator game. Okay, I think this is it. I found this on elevators.com, which is crazy. Board the elevator. First requirement to play the elevator game is you must play alone. I did not. I played it with my friend. So, board the elevator on the first floor and press the button to go to the fourth floor. When the elevator gets to the fourth floor, do not get off. Stay in the elevator and press the button to go to the second floor. When the elevator reaches the second floor, again, do not get off. Press the button and go to the sixth floor. At the sixth floor, stay in the elevator and press the button to go to the second floor. When you reach the second floor, stay in the elevator and press the button to go to the 10th floor. At this point, some people claim to have heard a voice calling to them. It's important that you not answer or acknowledge the voice in any way. When the elevator reaches the 10th floor, stay on and press the button to go to the 5th floor. On the 5th floor, a woman may board the elevator. Some people say she's a stranger. Others claim she bears a resemblance to someone in their past. Either way, do not acknowledge her in any way. Do not even look at her. The woman is not human. Some claim that if you acknowledge her, she'll take you straight to another world with no chance of escape. And it goes on and on from there. But that's the only one of these I remember playing, and nothing happened. Because I broke the rules, because I had a friend with me. I should have done it. I need to do it again by myself. But I love this stuff. I love, you know, spooky rituals that scare the shit out of kids. You know, it's one of the reasons why I love the left-right game so much, because it that's a story that deals with, you know, that concept, but takes it in such a beautiful narrative way. And the episode itself, I know it shouldn't make me laugh so much, but you just allowed the Midnight Man into your house bit makes me laugh so hard even just thinking about it. Like, I don't know. And I like how just like caught off guard Hunter is by it.
Step 3. Knock on your own door 22 times. The hour must be 12 a.m. upon the final knock. Then open the door, blow out the candle, and close the door. You have just allowed the Midnight Man into your house.
just like, sorry, I did not expect Midnight Man. I'm sorry. You just allowed the Midnight Man into your house.
That does read kind of funny. The Midnight
Just
Man.
like, yeah, the midnight game, whatever. All of a sudden, it's like, knock on the door 22 times, blow out the candle. You just invited the Midnight Man into your house.
Congratulations.
Like, what?
You know, it is funny because I remember reading this because I would have been like 10 or 11 when I heard this the first time. And I just remember like reading that line and just getting scared out of my mind.
Well, what does the Midnight Man look like to you?
Well, that's the thing. It could be anything.
No, I mean, like, whenever do you remember?
Like a shadow man, like a hat man kind of figure, like a void
Right.
thing. Yeah.
So genuinely a really fun episode. It'd be cool if they did more like this where they're not, you know, traditional narrative creepypastas, but more of these like challenges. Goodness, what do we have here? Baraska 5. Oh, Baraska 5. I thought you'd never come. Baraska 5 is an oh dear God no for me. And I had the rare privilege of thinking Baraska 5 couldn't be worse than I had heard it. So, for context, I'm a huge fan of Baraska, like the original Baraska. It's one of my favorite creepypastas. And in my opinion, the purest form of Baraska, the best way to engage with this story is the Q Code audio play of Baraska starring Cole Sprouse. It's done really, really well. They also did one for the Left Right game that was directed by Emma Tammy, actually, who did the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. And that's also really good. But I love the Baraska audio play. So the second season of the Baraska audio play is Baraska 5. So I read Baraska. I never read Baraska 5, but I listened to the second season. And it's weird and cringy, and it's pasting a dumb happy ending that we don't need on a tragic story. I could make an entire video about Baraska 5 being a great example of why we don't need happy endings. Maybe I will someday. But the actual written work that they read on this episode is 10 times worse than the Q Code adaptation. They did some heavy lifting over at Q Code. And it's so bad. Like, it is such a complete and colossal shit on an incredible story. And I am still a CK Walker defender, a Rebecca Klingel defender. I think she's great. And I just think she shouldn't write adults. I think she's so good at writing like kids and teenagers, and she captures their essence and their energy and the way they interact with each other, and she can't do adults. I don't know what it is, but it just does not work ever when she deals with adults. The same thing happened in Deep Woods, where the first half when they're children is
Very
great, and then it just falls apart when they turn into adults. No. But I do like that they crashed out. It is an all-timer, you know, giggling, laughing, because, like, Wendigoon gets onto his knees at one point.
Sheriff shrugged.
If that's what it takes, I'm only here for the power and the women. I'm an alpha, Sam.
Whoa.
I'm done. I'm done. What the fuck? I'm an alpha? What?
I also want to point out, my car overheated and I had to pull off to the side of a rural highway while listening to this. I thought that it was the worst week of my life. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. this year just kept getting worse. But yeah, maybe Baraska 5 caused my water pump to malfunction. Okay, so next we have the sun vanished. And the sun vanished is... Do I put the sun vanished in meh, or do I put it in this is neat? I'm going to put it in this is neat, but I have a lot of problems with the sun vanished. So I'm going to put the episode in I disagree. And the only reason is they need to stop doing Twitter ARGs on a show that's supposed to work as an audio platform. It inherently doesn't work. I know it's text-based, but there's something about seeing the tweet that makes it easier to digest. And I am a firm defender of the Twitter ARG. I am maybe Twitter ARG's biggest shooter online. I don't know. I love Twitter ARGs. I've made multiple videos about Twitter ARGs. It's such a perfect example of how you can utilize a specific platform to tell a specific story. The problem with The Sun Vanished, not the right platform, because at a certain point after that initial very interesting beginning, it devolves into this way too big of a story to be telling over Twitter. You start delivering a lot of information through screenshots, through Notes app screenshots, and it gets way too drawn out, way too big, and it betrays its own medium of being on Twitter. So I am not a Sun Vanished fan. It is probably my least favorite popular Twitter ARG. Gregory88, my go, love you, hate how much they hated you, but at least they admitted in the end that Gregory88 was better than the Sun Vanished. My true goat, if you want a good Twitter ARG, Teletubbies Updates. Teletubbies Updates understood the Twitter ARG assignment better than any other Twitter ARG, and Dear David is also very good too. But anyway, stop. Don't do any more of these. Do not even attempt Teletubbies Updates, please, guys. Please. Or do a Creep TV or a different something. It doesn't work on audio, so stop. As much as I love Twitter ARGs, it's not the right platform for it. Oh, Camp Oakwood. Oh. There really was like a long stretch of just shitters this year, wasn't there? I'm gonna put it in meh because it's like the bad parts are so bad, but like it's not even bad enough to be like I'm angry about it bad. It's just like it falls up. Never mind. I'm putting it in. Oh dear God, no. I'm sorry. I just remembered the bit about how the cult leader died and then caused World War I, and I remember almost crashing my car because I was so shocked by that. That's crazy. Long story short, the story's not good, but long story short, it's funny as
Fairy.
because obviously the long story short crash out is iconic. And then the author only writing this, a couple of two-sentence horror stories, and then being very active in football and Masked Singer subreddits is so funny. And I love that. Like, for every dedicated Elias Witherow we also have this guy. And I think that's beautiful. That's what I love about the internet. And every time I see the Masked Singer, I think of him. The next story is Ensorcelled in the Earth. I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's been a minute. And I really enjoyed this one. I know, like, going into it, the author had said, it was a little more experimental. I really enjoyed it. I do love when creepypasta authors get a little freaky with it, get a little more experimental, either way, whether it's experimenting with the internet format with something like Mother Horse Eyes, which we'll get to in a second, or just writing more experimentally, like in this case. I think it's great. I thought it was really interesting. Sometimes, like, I was looking through the Reddit and stuff just to see, little bits and bobs about the stories, because it's been a while for some of them. And I never saw the nuclear ties with this story until I was seeing so many people talk about it in the subreddit. To me, I thought it was like a metaphor or representation of like cancer, which could absolutely be tied to nuclear tragedy, right? Because, that often causes cancer. But the The thing that this led me to kind of go down the rabbit hole about long-term nuclear waste warning sites, which I'm vaguely familiar with because specifically of the more like sculptural stuff. My husband actually illustrated a cover for the band Mortalis, and that was called Earthworks, and that was kind of the visual inspiration for that cover. So I was familiar with that, but I was not familiar with these phrases that can be, you know, that were associated with this. It's just a concept. They're not real. It was like, what do we do if, you know, there was to be a widespread nuclear event? How do we show people this is not a safe place to go? And the phrase in Ensorcelled in Earth that was kind of the like ding, ding, ding for a lot of people was, this is not a place of honor, which I think is such a heavy phrase. And I just think that's interesting. Like, I don't have anything smart to say about it. I'm just kind of like want to go on a rabbit hole worm time about that because I think it's very interesting. So I will put, I love this so much because I really liked that one. Kind of short and sweet, very, you know, visceral. As far as the episode goes, I'll say it's a solid episode. Not much else more to say. So next we have My Sugar Daddy Asked Me for Weird Favors, which is an episode that has multiple stories written by the same author. Her Reddit username is EAPATBP. Her display name is Gabby. And all of these stories in this episode are hers. This woman is a creepypasta machine. These 4 stories are just, if you wanted to show like good creepypasta to someone in its most perfected form, I would say these stories are great examples. And My Sugar Daddy Asked Me for Weird Favors is the highest upvoted story on r/NoSleep, which is crazy. I love to see women in horror thriving. So I'll start with that one. I really liked this one. I never knew where it was gonna go. Like, it kept me guessing in a good way, not in like a confusing way. And I just kept wanting to, you know more and more and more. But it's still concise. It's still to the point. And I'm gonna say I love it, honestly. Most of these I really enjoyed. Every month a parade would pass by my town. I really liked this one as well. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. You know, it doesn't over-explain. I hate when stories, especially horror stories, over-explain the monster or the scary thing. I mean, I come from the Blair Witch Project, Skinamarink school of thought when it comes to your ooky spookies. I would rather just sit and steep in the fear of the unknown rather than see a monster. So I love this one for that. And all these names are so perfect creepypasta. Like, I love a solid, like, creepypasta-ass title, a really long sentence that just, you hear it and you're like, what the hell is that about? And she's really good at that. The next one, a man follows me around and narrates my life. This one didn't stick with me as much. I'm going to say it's neat. The other 3 just stuck with me a lot more. Not to say it's bad, it maybe just isn't my thing as much. And then My Family is Cursed. A clown shows up at everyone's 10th birthday. I loved this one. I very openly have said on my channel before, I'm not a big clown person. Like, I'm not scared of clowns, nor am I really, like, into them. They just kind of don't do anything for me. But this one is so crazy, like, because the thought of just, it doesn't matter if he's a clown or not. Like, I feel like the clown is just because it's a birthday party, right? So it makes sense that a figure like that would show up. And it's just so fantastical and strange, but, like, the characters in the story are so just okay with it and prepared for it. I love it. Like, this would only show up in a creepypasta, and I think it's done really well. Again, like, Gabby is just good at writing creepypasta. Like, I need to read more of her work, and they should read more of her work on the show because it's so good. And the episode itself, another one that's like, it's just solid. I definitely feel like there's like, oh, Wendigoon's uncomfortable because they're talking about sugar daddies. And I know the thumbnail pissed them off. Next we have I Work at a Half Price Voodoo Shop, which is one of those that's kind of similar to like a Tales from the Gas Station, where it's this, you know, guy in a setting and various weird things that keep happening to him. I prefer Half Price Voodoo Shop because I think that it does a good job balancing the kind of silliness and the genuine, like, gross, scary stuff. And also, I live in the South. I'm not from Louisiana or any place where, like, Vaudon or any of that is more popular. But I live in Georgia. I live near Savannah. So I'm into I'm into that vibe. So I really enjoyed King Creole as a character, and the visual of him was really cool. And it just was really, like, it was a fun story to follow and to, start off really liking that character and then just the slow descent into how evil and scary he really was. So I really liked that one. Definitely I was nervous at the beginning when they were like, it's like Tales from the Gas Station, kind of. I was like, oh, please don't be like that. I'm not a Tales from the Gas Station diva, but I'm going to say I love this one because it's really good. And as far as the episode goes, that's another one that I think is just solid. Here is where GlitchWitch.JPG is going to talk for a little too long. And that's because we have found ourselves at Mother Horse Eyes. Mother Horse Eyes is a story, a creation, whatever you want to call it, that I was aware of. Not as it happened. This was my first time actively engaging with it. But around when I started my channel, it was on my radar. Like, as I started collecting topics to make videos on, it was on my list of things to, like, research. And it was one of those things where I'm like, this is so dense. And I didn't even know where to start. And then things just kept coming up and I never got to it. So when I saw that they were covering, I'm like, oh, cool. I finally get to know what this thing is, because it is so kind of notorious, because there's not really anything like this. And of course, when I saw that the runtime was as long as it was, I was like, okay, here we go. I don't even know how to talk about it. I wrote down a ton of notes. Like, if you see me looking down at my computer, it's because I have notes written down. But I don't, like, how do you talk about a story that kind of fundamentally changed your life? Because that's how I feel about Mother Horse Eyes. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm really not. I mean that with sincerity. Before I get into the story itself, the format of this being Reddit comments on random threads that seem nonsensical and insane, but there's being a way to narratively engage with this story from start to finish if you go to the user's, Reddit page itself, is such a perfect example of utilizing your format, the format of the internet. This story could not exist off of the internet. It could, like, you could type it up and put it in a book and it would still be interesting. It would not have the same impact or the same presence that it does in the form that it's in now. And I so wish I could have been there as it was unfolding. I cannot imagine being a person realizing, like, wait a minute, this is a story. This is not a crazy man. This is a story. I just think that's so cool, and that is everything that I love about internet horror and about creepypasta, is that willingness to commit to the format of the internet. But it's still really accessible as a story because you can go to his page and read it in order. And I love that. Like, that's awesome that it can be both super esoteric and weird and off-putting, but incredibly accessible if you choose to just dig a little bit. But you have to make the choice to dig in order to engage with it. I love that. I found this story quite easy to follow once I got like an hour or so into it. It's absolutely confusing at first. They kind of just put you into it. You're supposed to just be okay with having to learn about flesh interfaces and all of that. At the beginning, it was so much. Like, I felt like I was like in a class or something. But as the intersecting stories kept showing up and started to repeat, I was able to follow it pretty well. And I will say, I think my brain is very much wired for non-traditional, non-linear narratives like this, just because of the nature of like this channel that I run. Analog horror is very non-traditional storytelling. Creepypastas can often be non-traditional storytelling. And that's not me being like, oh, I'm smarter. I know, because if I was to sit and read a classic novel, I would struggle with that where you may not. So it's just how my brain works. You know what I mean? It's what I'm used to. I genuinely think this is one of the best stories that I've ever heard. And I love I love religious imagery. I love religious storytelling. That's almost a joke on my channel. So I very much was, same brain with Wendigoon on this one. Like, I was just eating it up, and I also am very intrigued by conspiracy theory and, just how conspiracy theory can tear someone apart. And, that fear of what happens if the conspiracy is real. It's just such a fascinating thing. And Sean is one of my favorite, segments within this story, because you watch what conspiracy can do to a person who is like very normal and very well adjusted, and how it can tear their life apart. I was very riveted by the entire Pompeii segment. The one part that was posted on the Vice article rather than on Reddit, I was just wrapped with attention with that. Like, and I know, Wendigoon talked about it at length. And I agree with everything he had to say. I just, I cannot articulate what this story has done for me. To put it into perspective, like I said, I only listen to Creepcast in the car. And I only commute 3 days a week. I have a hybrid work schedule where I go into my office 3 days a week. I work from home 2 days a week. And then on the weekend, I don't usually drive alone. Usually my husband and I are going somewhere together. So that's only 3 days a week, an hour in the car by myself. So it took me a month to finish this story. I sat with this story 3 days a week for a month, and sitting with a story like this for that length of time absolutely did genuinely change me. I am not a positive person. I don't think I'm good at conveying that necessarily on this channel, because I try to be very positive when it comes to art, and I am when it comes to art and criticism and stuff like that. But in general, I'm kind of a pessimist. I'm kind of I wish that I was a more optimistic, positive person. The ending of this story hit me like a ton of bricks. I adamantly choose to view the ending of this story as a positive and good ending. I know there is some, argument and conversation that it could mean multiple things. To me, the ending is young Nick being saved by old Nick. The two halves, the old Nick going into the dark to save young Nick, who's going into the light, to come together to create one functioning whole person. And that idea of, you can save yourself. I did not expect a story like this to end that way. And to end so simply in the grand scheme of things. For such a complex and heavy story, I was very nervous how it would end. Because you see that a lot in horror stories, where it's like, where is this going to go? There's no way it's going to end in a way that is satisfying. And I found this ending so satisfying. And I can literally close my eyes and I remember everything about where I was when I finished it. I can see the sun. I can see the area of highway I was on. It's literally in me forever. And I that sounds corny, but it's true. I finished this story a few months before the hardest time in my life that I've ever faced. Some of you that follow me consistently may be aware of this, but my dad passed away in October very suddenly. and it was not a pleasant event for me. I am his only child. Decisions had to be made by me, that kind of thing, without getting into too much detail. And I have not been grieving in the way that people grieve on TV and in movies, where you're crying and sobbing and beside yourself. I just feel empty. I was really close to my dad. I talked to him every day. There's a video of him where we looked at creepypastas together, and he loved these videos. He lived in Michigan, I live in Georgia. It was a way for him to see me and for us to talk about stuff. And so it's been hard. And again, I'm not sobbing, I'm not crying, I'm not, any of that. I just feel empty and dark and just kind of hollow. And the ending of this story is like a little candle inside of my heart that makes that emptiness and the hollowness dissipate just a little bit. I really don't care what anyone else thinks of this story or how they feel, or if all of this sounds corny to you, because this gave me that. And I'm so thankful for that it came to me in the time of my life that it did. So without, obviously, Mother Horse Eyes gets its own tier above Lady Gaga gets. It is its own thing. I don't think there is a narrative like it. I don't think it exists. I keep saying narrative because story, it's so much more. And it is just such a affirmation of why internet horror is so
Fairy Queen
awesome. So yes, it goes without saying, it gets its own tier. I love Mother Horse Eyes. It's a solid Creepcast episode. Although I will shout out Hunter and Fairy Queen singing the Fairy Queen song. Incredible. I'm sure there's funny parts. I am just too moved by the story itself. So it just gets solid Creepcast episode. I need to take a deep breath and not be a freak. Moving on to We Need to Talk. Or moving on to We Weren't Allowed to Talk About Women, which is such whiplash after Mother Horse Eyes. And it's so funny because it's very obvious, like, okay, Wendigoon tortured Meat Canyon with this very esoteric, weird, conspiracy-laden, religious allegory nightmare. So Meat Canyon said, how about I try one? How about I try one for me? And so we get gross moth mommy. I like this story, but it grosses me out, so it's gonna get, this is neat. I like what it's doing, but it's just a little icky wicky for me. But, Southern representation, am I right, folks? It's a solid episode. I don't know. Next we have It Came From a Fan, which is another compilation one where they read a bunch of stories written by Creepcast fans, which I think is really cool. The first one is Laws of Innocence, which is a baby regressor weird. This one's meh for me. I'm sorry. It's just a little. I don't know. I'm sorry. The Missing Person I'm Looking For No Longer Exists. I liked that one a lot. It was very like uncomfortable and spooky. I'm gonna put it in This Is Neat. I enjoyed it. It was really well written too. I discovered a book that does not end. I'm gonna say I love this so much because it feels like a Twilight Zone episode to me. I just really enjoyed it. It's a very simple premise, but it's just cool. I don't know. I was into it. And then The Nursing Home at the Edge of the World. I'm also going to put this one into, I love this so much. It is the first part of many, but I just think it's a cool setting. It's an atypical setting as well for a horror story. And I also like that the author didn't reduce the residents of the nursing home to be like, they're scary and disgusting and grotesque because they're old people. Because I feel like that's such an easy thing to do in horror. But it didn't treat them that way at all, which I think is really neat. The episode itself, it's a solid Creepcast episode. What can I say? Next, we have Fleshgate. And I am not a huge fan of, like, I'm gonna say mimic creepypastas, because I don't like to say the word everyone likes to say, because I'm trying to be respectful of indigenous belief systems. As far as like mimic in the woods stuff goes, I didn't hate this one. And I think it's because it's written really well in a way that you feel as confused as the main character without the story itself being confusing. And I know that probably makes no sense, but this constant like uneasiness, and you're not sure if the people in the party have been there the whole time, and then you kind of realize it right before the narrator does, but are you remembering wrong? Like, I just think it's handled really well, and that kind of makes that a little more unique to me. And this idea that there's multiple, it's not just one thing, I think is really cool. I am a very loud, stolen tongues is not that great person, so I'm team Fleshgate as far as mimics in the woods go. I will say I love Fleshgate. I think it's good, and it is a classic. Like, I'm not being controversial here. I think it's a solid episode. I don't remember any specific literally crying laughings going on here. Church in the Woods. So the funniest thing about Church in the Woods is I want you all to know that when I sat down to make this list and like take notes and stuff, I thought Camp Oakwood and Church in the Woods were the same story. And when I started like rereading a little bit of Camp Oakwood, I was like, this guy's not an IT guy. And then I remembered, oh, that's Church in the Woods. Not to be confused with Spire in the Woods, not to be confused with Deep Woods. Did I cover all of them? Yeah. Lots of woods, lots of things in the woods. I'm sorry, this story is so
Very
nuts. Because at first, I'm like, oh, it's a church. I'm sat, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, and holy shit, it's just so bad. And I'm so sorry to that sweet, innocent young man from Camp Oakwood that I thought he was this IT freak with a pregnancy fetish. So sorry to you, because this man is, it is like an incel fan fiction wet dream. Why is the lady British? For what reason? He's just into pregnant British women, the author clearly. The most, this is the author's thinly veiled fetish shit I've ever seen in my life. I want to know, is there like an incel AO3 I don't know about? And I really don't want to, so if it does exist, please don't tell me about it. Oh my god, this is, so story, let's just, it's horrible. It's an oh dear god no for sure. Funny as
very.
They were having such a good time. Just the constant talk about her being pregnant and like, are you pregnant? Like, it's so funny.
I'm blushing.
I'm smiling and I can't tell again. I'll look in the mirror and realize I'm smiling.
Yeah, sorry. I hope you didn't notice that I was smiling and drooling, looking at your pregnant belly. I definitely don't want to eat your child. It was clawing away at your gutty works. Hey, what?
You're pregnant?
Yeah.
Great.
Bummer. I thought you were just fat. She's like, hey, Marcus, you started to scare me, Marcus. He's like, no, don't be afraid. I'm just the IT guy.
Do you like being pregnant?
I'm unironically going I'm going to ask that to a pregnant woman sometime. What's it feel like to be pregnant? Do you like it? I don't know. It's okay. Can you feel him crawling around in there? You know, in your gutty works.
Who did that to you?
Well, that's another good one. Hey, who did that? And point at it.
Can I see?
I bet if you lifted up your shirt and you showed me your belly, it would look like a bald man's head.
I'm the IT guy.
I help run IT.
I'm happy you're pregnant.
This is an episode I would re-listen to because they are so funny in it, but the story is so god awful. Oh my god, it's so bad. Next, we have the ocean is much deeper than we thought. And ocean and space are the two horror subcategories that I'm like, you really gotta wow me. And I will say, happily, this story did wow me. I'm gonna put this one in, I love it so much. I really enjoyed this one, and I think it was the characters. Like, I really bought the characters, and I really believed them, and I thought they had really authentic dialogue, and I liked that the main character was this doctor that had experience being in the water, but he was not, in the crew, so you have this outside perspective. And I think the monster, for lack of a better term, was very scary. It was visually very interesting. Like, the section where they actually go into the, deeper part of the ocean was really cool. I think everything on, like, the escape within the ship itself was really cool. Like, it was just really well done. Like, this would make a great movie. This should be adapted by, like, a James Cameron type. I think it would be awesome. Episode, I would say, is a solid Creepcast episode. Shocker. Next, we have I clean hoarder houses for a living. Also, to explain this to you, y'all, I was, like, late to all of these because it took me a month to get through Mother Horse Eyes. So then I was playing catch up, which is part of the reason why this video is so late. Like, I wanted to make this video at the end of the summer, but I wanted to be, like, current. And I should have probably just stopped and made it at a certain point, but here we are, right? And it's probably a 2-hour-long video. I'm trying not to dwell too long, except on Mother Horse Eyes. But so I saw this title while I was still listening to Mother Horse Eyes, I think, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. It was at first. Like, the beginning stuff was interesting, but, like, the second he went into the painting, I just didn't care anymore. I don't know. It just lost me. I think I wasn't expecting that, like, fantasy angle, and it really kind of lost me. I just didn't love it, and then it got very convoluted with the relationship between the lady that was in the house, but it wasn't her, and then like, there was some visually very interesting things being described, but it was almost, like, overwhelming, and I couldn't process it, and I wonder if I read it, I would like it more. Maybe it's one of those that, like, listening to it isn't great. But counterpoint, the clown grief counselor bit killed me.
I have, like, glasses on, I take them off, and I'm just like, but what of the clowns?
No, you have a clown nose on, and anytime that she says something traumatic, you honk it. Yeah. That'd be a really fun grief counselor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a girl, like, yeah. And I never saw my dad after that.
My father, he drank, and I just think that he'd come home and he'd hit me. Go on.
He's got a sly whistle.
My name's Chim Chim, the grief counselor. Please come in. My name's Boingo McBoingerton, the grief counselor.
Last time you said Chim Chim in a story was related to a monkey. So now imagine he also has, like, a chimpanzee.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Banana, would you mind giving us our file?
While this story is a meh, the episode is a literally laugh and crying because the clown grief counselor bit is so funny. And speaking of funny, y'all already know we got cupcakes next. And here's the thing about cupcakes. I did not, well, obviously I didn't grow up with My Little Pony because I'm too old. But I never engaged with My Little Pony until I started this YouTube channel. I am not a Pegasister, but I have absolute admiration and respect for the My Little Pony, like, horror fandom. There's a huge subset of MLP creepypastas, usually called grimdarks, as well as, like, My Little Pony horror games, like Luna Game and stuff. I love it. I think they're super creative. I think they're super zany. They can be really scary. I covered Divine Swamp Fever on my channel a while back. It's my most viewed video. The MLP fandom was really nice to me, even though I admitted that I was an outsider. So I have mad respect for the bronies and the Pegasisters out there. And god damn it if cupcakes is not an iconic part of internet culture. And here's the thing. I had never read or heard cupcakes. I just knew about it. It's ridiculous. It is over the top. It is nasty and disgusting. But you want to know what? It kind of
Very
like it's it is such insanely detailed gore that it's just kind of shocking and overwhelming. I don't even know where to put cupcakes, because you think that it should be an oh god no, oh dear god no, but like I respect the hell out of it for what it is. So I think I'm gonna put it in This Is Neat, simply because like it deserves better than being at the bottom. And obviously the episode was hilarious. Hunter was freaking out, couldn't believe it, and the voice acting was incredible. Like truly an all-timer episode.
She awoke with a gasp. The stench of her urine filled her mucus-caked nostrils. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. The stench of her urine filled her mucus cake nostril. She's having involuntary seizures.
It's such a detailed,
Good God!
like heavy description of a torture sequence.
Get this child off Ash Jeeves immediately.
The second I saw that they were doing cupcakes, I was so excited. So, an all-timer for me. I really enjoyed it. God bless the My Little Pony horror fandom. The Dead Girl in My Yard. Love this story. This is a Lady Gaga gift for me. I loved this. I did not expect it. This was one that I skipped over, actually, and came back to closer to around like Halloween, because I read the description about like dying mom and stuff and was like, I shouldn't listen to this right now for my own personal reasons. It's really beautiful. I think it has this like fairy tale sweet childlike quality to it that you almost get out of like a Pan's Labyrinth or something. And I really appreciate that about it. And I think that the relationship between the main character and Wendy is so sweet, and it hurts even more when you realize that Wendy really is a monster, and that, you know, this poor kid truly, you know, loses everything in his life. Well, yes, the mother and the brother end up living on with Wendy. Is that not, you know, oh, they're in a better place, they're in heaven or whatever, and you're stuck here alone? And that's something that really resonates with me. Because as someone who really, I've never been very spiritual. I'm very fascinated by religion in like a scholarly way, but I have never been religious, and I wish that I was, frankly. And honestly, my father passing away is the thing that really kind of made me realize how non-spiritual I am. Because, you know, I've had other people in my life die, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're in a better place. No one can tell me, oh, he's in a better place, because it's like, he should still be here. I'm not comforted by, oh, he's in a better place, because like, he died really young. He shouldn't need to be in a better place. He should be here. I think that's one of the reasons why this story really resonated with me, because, you know, I'm that kid. I'm left behind. Is his family in a better place, or are they monsters now? It's such an interesting thing. I just really liked this one. I was recommending this to people around Halloween because I was like, this is just a good ass, very, you know, kind of fairy tale, not ghost, but, you know, spooky story. Yeah, I just found it really cathartic. And as far as the episode goes, it was once again a solid Creepcast episode. What more can you want? It was a more kind of sincere and kind of, you know, deep story, so not as funny all the time. But what was funny, polyamorous hell, which let me find out what the name of this story actually is, because I know it's not polyamorous hell. Okay, so the actual story is called When We Turn 18, We Get the Name of Our Soulmate. I just don't even know. Like, this isn't a creepypasta. This is fan fiction. This is, like, scraped right off of Wattpad.com. I don't even know. It's just so bad. Like, it had to have been gay fan fiction. Like, this was yaoi, bitch. Like, it was not original characters. Comment below the actual like fanfic ship you think this was about before they changed the names, because there's no way. Like, there's no way. And I need to paint the picture, not to keep trauma dumping on y'all, but I was listening to this in the middle of like peak traumatic events related to everything I've been talking about. So I want you to imagine me pausing this story to like call my grandma or my mom on the phone, sob hysterically, hang up, wipe a tear, and then press play and keep watching, because that's how I experienced this one. And you could say, oh, that's why you don't like it. No, bitch. No, it's just not, it's not a creepypasta. It's not, I'm sorry. But it's so funny, and they kind of crash out over it because it's just ridiculous. And there's a part where the main character's like, well, if you knew the game Destiny, you'd get it. And my husband and I reference that all the time.
I just would feel a bit more comfortable if I knew how the guns worked.
I said, a small smile tugging on his lips. Avery rolled his eyes.
If you had played Destiny, I wouldn't have to explain. Is he talking about the fucking
The
Xbox
video
game?
Is he talking about the video game Destiny? There's no way, right? There's no way. If you had played Destiny, I wouldn't have to explain.
I wouldn't have to explain.
Because why in this alternate reality where you have a predetermined soulmate and you can't go in the water or you'll end up in this evil other place, why is Destiny still a thing? I don't know. It's like that
Fairy Queen.
It's like that
Fairy
movie where the Beatles don't exist, and in the world where the Beatles don't exist, Harry Potter also doesn't exist, and 9/11 didn't happen. It's like that. Like, Destiny still exists, though. Obviously, this is going in oh dear God, no. And literally crying laughing. The flight attendants won't stop crying. There are 2 stories in this one, and frankly, they're both meh to me. The flight attendant one is just like, I don't know. It just doesn't really do anything for me. Like, I wanted it to go somewhere and it kind of didn't. And the hospital one I forgot about the hospital one. Like, I knew there were 2 stories in the flight attendant one, but I could not for the life of me remember what the second one was until I looked it up, and I still really don't remember the story. However, this episode made me laugh really hard, so I'm gonna put it in literally crying laughing. White Knight character they made for the guy in the flight attendant story. I just thought that was really funny. I really enjoyed that.
Okay, so Hunter, right now, role play. What do you do in this scenario? You're the guy in the seat.
So, wait, can I start at the crying woman?
Yeah, sure. So she's crying. And then she comes up and says, we'll be landing in about an hour.
Who did this to you? What's wrong? Who did this? Who did this? I'd make a big saying. Oh my God. And I would say, oh my God, are you okay? Is it the pilot? I'd say, is it the pilot?
So you're immediately white knighting off the get-go.
Anytime I can white knight Isaiah, I absolutely do it. I say, oh my God, who did this?
Okay, so then she responds and goes, what are you talking about, sir? I'm fine.
And I say, don't fucking play. Hey, don't play coy with me. All right? You're sitting here crying like a babbling brook.
In my head, you're grabbing her face like you grabbed her cheeks. Hey,
no. I don't do that. But I say, hey. Sorry. I don't mean to raise my voice, but I say, you are obviously a woman in distress, and I need to know how I can help. Let me help you. And I say again, I'm like, don't make me fucking ask it again. It's in the fucking pilot. Because if it's the pilot, you let me know, and I will go in there and I will wreak hell. Is what I would say.
Next is the Blood Ridge Motel. I struggle with this one because there are parts of it that I really like, and I was really into it at the beginning, but as it kept going and at the end it was like the showdown, I just kind of didn't care. And it's one of those things that I think, with horror, I said this earlier, like sometimes you're like, well, where's it gonna go? How's it gonna conclude? And I just wasn't happy with how this one concluded, so I'm gonna put this one in This Is Neat, because I don't think it's a bad story, and I was happy to see vampires. I think vampires are underutilized in creepypasta, frankly, perhaps because they're overutilized in traditional horror. But I thought the setup was cool with, her finding out about her family, and some of it was very obvious, like with the sister and everything, but it was so cool, and just, I love a weird hotel, motel in the middle of nowhere. It's a cool setting. it didn't end up being my favorite. And I'm gonna call this a solid Creepcast episode. I don't think it's the funniest thing ever, but I do like Hunter's Goonies. The Goonies never die. Next is I Talk to God, which is a, you know what, I'm gonna give it Oh Dear God No, but it's like so boring that it doesn't even deserve that, because we have shit like The Hooded Man in here, right? I Talk to God is, to me, the peak example of nonsensical, it's bad but not bad enough to be funny creepypasta. It's just so forgettable, and it just goes too many places, and it just doesn't work. And listen, to have an angel in your story and me still not give a flying
Fairy
means you've screwed up, because I love angels. As far as like religious imagery and shit goes, angels are like one of my favorite things ever. I'm obsessed with angels. You throw an angel in something and I'm sat. And I did not care at all about this. And I think that this idea of like the government's harnessing angels, we need to stop. Because there's also that AI analog horror series, The Angel Engine, that is the same premise. And 2026 is going to be the year that I make a video about AI in analog horror, because stop. It's not cool. It's scraping off our faves. Do it yourself. Open up MS Paint, diva. Start somewhere. We all started somewhere. Stop. I just don't remember it. I know they didn't like it, but I just don't remember the episode, which is not their fault. It's just a shitty story. Oh, Elias Witherow. Oh, Elias Witherow. I am a professional Elias Witherow defender. And of course I'm bringing this up because we're talking about the story There's Something Wrong with Dad, which the episode is called There's Something Wrong with Wendigoon. I am a big fan of Elias Witherow. He has also written, as far as stories that they've covered on the show, Tommy Taffy. I love Tommy Taffy. I feel very strongly about Tommy Taffy as a very well-written allegory of child abuse happening at the hand of a family member or a friend of the family, and everyone turning a blind eye to it. It's graphic and it's gruesome because the real life thing is too. He also wrote Feed the Pig, which that's the one that they don't really have an issue with that one. He also wrote The Tall Dog. I love his work. It is so depressing and tragic and just horrible. But sometimes you need stuff like that. Like, I find stories like that very cathartic. I'm not like, hee hee hee, this is great. I am like, oh God, it's just awful, but sometimes you gotta sit with the awful. I think that people treat Elias Witherow's stories the way that I view, like, the Terrifier films. Because Elias Witherow is trying to say something, typically. Whereas shit like that, they're not saying shit. Anyway, I digress. So as much as I am a lifelong defender of Mr. Witherow, I cannot defend ending a story with the government coming to take a fog goblin that assumed the visage of the main character's father. What the fuck are we on, Mr. Witherow? You don't do shit like this. That's why I like you. I truly was defending this one up until that batshit ending, because I think that it was once again a classic Elias Witherow portraying a real fucked up problem, which in this case I think is like an alcoholic father, in a, horror story fashion, and it's over the top and it's gruesome, but it forces the audience to confront how horrific these things are. And that's what I appreciate about him. But ending the story the way that it did completely ruins any attempt at commentary, because it's like, oh well, it wasn't the dad's fault, it was a fog monster from the ground, and dad died this morning and he never did anything wrong. And it's just like so out of left field. I was shocked. And I almost wonder, it's like, I don't know when this was written in comparison to some of his other work, but I almost wonder if he was like, if I do this, people won't get mad at me or call me a sicko. This is a meh for me because I was so disappointed, because I really like his work usually. I'm going to put this one and disagree with their analysis or opinion, not because I don't like, I agree that this isn't a good story because of that ending, but I really don't like how over the top they get about the graphic nature of his work. I think it's it's a horror story, guys. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. And that's not me saying you have to like it, but like sometimes when you're dealing with horror like this, it's gonna happen, right? Like, especially typically Elias, you know, I think is very good at dealing with very heavy topics like child abuse, alcoholism, parental loss, and to be able to handle those things, it's a talent, it's a skill, and it's not something that everyone can, you know, bring themselves to do. So I love him for that. I applaud him for that. This one was not it for me, though. I apologize. Next, we have Smile Dog, which is another kind of creepy pasta grab bag episode. One thing about GlitchWitch.JPG, I fucking love Smile Dog. Smile Dog is going into it, and I love this so much because it's Smile Dog. The thing I love about Smile Dog is it is such a perfect mixture of classic golden age creepypasta as well as early internet chain messages. And I am so enamored by that era of the internet. And, you know, you find the beginnings of internet horror through things like those early chain messages. So Smile Dog being about that, I think is just great. And I love him. You'll never make me hate Smile Dog. And if you love Smile Dog and you have not seen the digital horror series Chainmail Chasers, get on it. Incredible work with Smile Dog. Such an underrated internet horror series. And then we have truly the story of all time, Beatles cartoon lost episode. My husband listened to this before I did, and he was so giddy about Beatles cartoon lost episode that he was like, I'll watch it with you again. Put it on. And of course, this is an oh dear God no for the best possible reason. I feel like this can't be sincere, but also I'm praying that it is. Evil Beatles, you have Hitler and vomit, you have, like, there's so much. There's so much. It's just the most fever dream nightmare possible. And I'm so glad it exists. Holy shit. Like, I don't... Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. It's just so funny. And then the last one they read on this episode was, does anyone know a good plumber? I did one of those stupid rituals and now my shower is leaking and there's a faceless guy in my kitchen. A Facebook guy. Jesus Christ, GlitchWitch. I think this one's neat. It's not my favorite, but I do think it pokes fun at, you know, the rituals like the ones we were talking about earlier with the Greywater episode really well. I think it is clever, it is funny, it is entertaining. But, you know, when you have Smile Dog and the Beatles cartoon lost episode, like, you don't stand a chance, frankly. The episode itself is one of the funniest Creepcast episodes for, like, so many different reasons. It's not even just the Beatles cartoon. It's the story that Wendy Goon tells at the beginning about being forgotten at the airport and the way that they banter. And that he finally gets there, and Hunter was filming the Meat Canyon short film, and then he goes, well, look who decided to show up. Like, that's so funny. And you hear Harry and you hear Nick, and I love when Nick shows up. I'm a big watcher of the Papa Meat channel. I think Nick is so funny. I love when he shows up on the Creepcast episodes. When he pipes up, I get very excited because I think he's very funny. Like, obviously everything with the Beatles cartoon lost episode, they were losing it. The voices that Meat Canyon was doing, so funny. Hunter's uncut Smile Dog drawing is so very awesome. And someone on the subreddit got it tattooed. I will put that up here with their name. I think that's so awesome. I think that's so awesome. So truly one of the funniest Creepcast episodes of all time. So good. And I wouldn't expect anything less for our icon, our legend, Miss Smile Dog. We're getting there. We're getting there, I promise. Next, we have Accounts for a Lonely Broadcast Station. So this one is kind of similar to like your half-price voodoo shop and your Tales from the Gas Station, except this time it's set in this radio station where it's the only radio station in this small town. I'm gonna say I loved this one. Like, I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I really liked the characters. I liked the dynamic between the two main characters. And it felt very like Twin Peaks, you know, X-Files, Gravity Falls vibes. It was a solid episode. I don't think there was anything that crazy. Oh, room 733. Our queen, our diva, C.K. Walker, aka Rebecca Klingel, author of Baraska, author of Deep Woods. And the thing about C.K. Walker, you don't know what you're gonna get, but I'm happy to report this was a good one. I really liked this. I think it is a perfect take on an urban legend that, like, you this is a story you would hear at your own school, right? And I love that about it. And the dialogue was pretty good, actually, because that's where I waffle a little bit with C.K. Walker. And, you know, this was a transitory age for C.K. Walker, because these were college students. It could have gone either way. Because the second that they're an adult, it's over. We have no chance. But this, I liked the dialogue. It was believable. I liked the dynamic of the characters. And I thought the twist at the end of that they were in the room the whole time was really... they pulled it off really well, and I didn't see it coming. Maybe I'm stupid, but I really didn't see it coming. So I enjoyed this. I'm gonna say I love this one. It was a solid ghost story. It was a lot of fun. And solid like this ghost story, it was a solid episode of Creepcast. Next, we had The Whistlers. And as someone who is very open to talk shit about stories that take place in the woods, creepypastas that take place in the woods, I think this is the best in the woods creepypasta they've ever covered. I really liked this story. And I think it's the dynamic between the two main characters that really drove it. That weird sexual tension between him and his sister-in-law. I was intrigued. I wanted to know more. And it just did a really good job. Right when you would have thought it would have fizzled out when they get to the empty town, it really pulls you in a whole different way, because the idea of a completely empty town scares the shit out of me. That's just one of those liminal, weird things that freaks me the f out. So I really liked this. And also, sound design was so good. The noise for the whistlers, it gave me the chills. Like, every time it happened, I was like, ooh. I'm gonna say this one, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say this is a Lady Gaga gift for me. And the episode was solid. It was solid. Next, we have Journal of an Unknown Soldier, which I don't know if I just listened to this on an off day. It just kind of bored me. I did not pay attention very well, and that's my fault, so I'm sorry to the author. I know it's a fan story, and I remember it being well written. I think I was like, I live in Georgia. I'm used to, like, Civil War shit being all around me, and I think that my brain was just like, we've done this enough. So for me, this is neat, and I probably should go back and re-listen to it, because I don't think I'm being fair to it. And yeah, I'm gonna say I don't remember much about this one. And I went and I looked in the subreddit. People seem to be mostly favorable for it. So again, I think I need to re-listen to it. Next we have Smiling Ones on Space Station Mir. Oh, this is another one where I'm like, you had me and then you lost me. And again, space, not always my favorite thing, but I was really intrigued by this, especially because most of it was taking place on Earth. It was at, the boots on the ground in Russia, and they were talking to the guy up in space, and I thought that was cool. But oh my god, this is one of those things where, like, you should have never attempted to explain what the Smiling Ones are. I know Hunter clowned on, like, the name the Smiling Ones. I like that name. I think that's interesting, but I did not want a visual. They should have never visualized it. It's one of those stories that, like, any explanation you give is never going to be as scary as leaving it unknown. And that sucks. That's, like, something that makes writing horror so difficult. So I don't blame the author for wanting to explain it. I still think there's some really cool stuff in this story, and I certainly don't hate it. It's just that ending kind of ruined it for me a little bit. So I'm going to put this in a This Is Neat, and it's a solid episode. I was intrigued by it. It just got a little too much at the end. Sometimes you leave your monster unexplained, then I will be more scared. Next, we have My Dad Ate Meat from a Deer That Walked on Two Legs. And Listen, sometimes a creepypasta ass title is all you need. And this is one of those. I saw this title and I said, oh, okay. And me, who is like, I'm tired of weird things in the woods. I don't know, man. I read this title and I was like, let's go. Let's go. This is going to be good. And you know what it was? It was short. It was effective. It was to the point. I'm terrified of foodborne illness, so this scared the shit out of me. I don't think I'll ever be able to eat venison again, frankly, which is okay. I'm not surrounded by venison anymore. When I lived in Michigan, I was getting venison from people all the time. So I never again. I don't think I can do it. And the description of like the deer monster coming out of the freezer, ugh, it was so icky and gross. So this is an I love this so much. And the episode, it's solid. It's solid. What can I say? Next we have Dogscape. And here's the thing. Do I like Dogscape? I don't know. But I do respect the hell out of it. Dogscape is one of those beautiful things that could only exist online. It's a beautiful example of what communal creativity can produce. And when you have that communal creativity, you're going to get some really cool stuff, and you're gonna get some, pardon the pun, dog shit. It's one of the most original concepts I've ever come across, and is proof that you can write anything. Nothing is stopping you. You can write about literally everything. The world turned into dog. That's crazy. My thoughts are very similar to the boys. I liked when they didn't over-explain. Turning it into a cult, not really. I don't need an explanation and how it started. I didn't need any of that. That last entry where the guy makes it like to the door but doesn't understand how doors work. Like, it's so upsetting, but it's so interesting. I like that Dogscape exists. So for that, I'm going to give it a this is neat. But there was a lot of bad and there was also a lot of gross. This was a funny episode. You were overwhelmed with the concept of this, right? So I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. And that leaves us at the very last one for today. And that is Dreams Beneath the Witch Tree, written by the same author that wrote Dagon's Mirror. This is some solid ass folk horror. I love folk horror. After like whatever you want to call the liminal internet, whatever horror, folk horror is my favorite subgenre of horror. I just love it. I think it's super cool. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that just scratches an itch for me. And I really liked the characters. I thought they were really well written. I really enjoyed the relationship between Ben and, his father figure character that went crazy. And it was just, I don't know, it painted a very lovely British picture. I loved this episode. It was funny. I was crying, screaming, throwing up, etc. because of the Ted got his period segment.
I had my period last week.
I'm trapped in this podcast.
Ted, what are you talking about?
This is such
I had my period last week, Ben.
Ted, I don't think that makes much sense.
I thought I was pregnant, but luckily I got my period. I got a lot of things I got to tell you. Some weird witchcraft going on in the cemetery bed. I keep getting my period. It's not monthly, it's weekly. I keep sucking male ghost dick.
No,
Ben.
No.
I was losing it. Like, Ted, the ghosts in the graveyard, and Ted getting his period killed me. So obviously this is a literally crying, laughing, it goes without saying. And I really like this story, so I'm gonna do, and I love this so much. So what a journey. I am a person who wants to put everything at the top that I even remotely like. So I showed a lot of restraint, only doing the best of the best, which is why I had to give Mother Horseyes its own category, because I just fucking love Mother Horseyes so much. What are your thoughts? What are some of your favorite stories that they've covered? What are some stories you want to see them cover? I am a patron. I'm a member of their Patreon, but I did not want to include any of those because I don't think that's fair, A, for people who are not patrons, and B, like, it's separate. It's not the same thing. It's not part of the core show. I don't include any Creep TV, not that they've done any a long time, but I don't include those either because I'm just talking straight Creepcast that I can listen to in my car, on Spotify, and soon probably Apple Music, because I need to get rid of Spotify. I feel guilty every moment I still have it. Let me know if you're as feral about Mother Horse Eyes as I am. Let me know if you're a fellow Scary Carrie. Shout out to all my Scary Carries out there. You're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're wonderful. Don't let any dumbass boys chasing a poor Alina who don't want him either tell you otherwise, okay? This Scary Carrie, I'm married, bitch. There's a chance for all Scary Carries, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to Wendigoon and Me Canyon, obviously, and the whole team. They kill it. It's such a great show. I love to see Creepypasta celebrated on this level, and it's exposed me to so many good stories that have literally changed my life, as you saw me waxing poetic. I would like to thank my YouTube members. We have the Creepypasta OCs up on screen, and then in Survival Horror Emo we have E-Rob and So-Called Punk, and then in Analog Horror Scary Face we have Kira Coffer, Alvakin, and Charlotte Sabina. If you would like to become a member, there's a little join button down next to the subscribe button, but liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing means the world. I love the Creepcast community. You're all wonderful, you're all lovely. Who up creeping their cast, am I right? Bye.
You just invited the Midnight Man into your house.